Hello, everybody. Today is November 20th, Friday, November 20th, 2015. The time is 10:55 a.m. Today is like a Transgender Day of Remembrance. Now, I've never really commemorated this day, but I thought I'll just sort of make a video about it and talk a little bit about it and maybe read some stuff. So I'm just going to Wikipedia, and it says Transgender Day of Remembrance. Transgender Day of Remembrance, TD little OR, which occurs annually on November 20th, is the day to memorialize those who have been murdered as a result of transphobia, and quote is the hatred or fear of transgender and gender non-conforming people, and to bring attention to the continued violence endured by the transgender community. The Transgender Day of Remembrance was founded in 1999 by Gwendolyn Ann Smith, a trans woman who is a graphic designer, columnist, and activist, to memorialize the murder of Rita Hester in Allston, Massachusetts. Since its inception, TDOR has been held annually on November 20th, and it has slowly evolved from the web-based project started by Smith into an international day of action. In 2010, TDOR was observed in over 185 cities throughout more than 20 countries. Now, let me just continue. Typically, a TDOR memorial includes a reading of the names of those who lost their lives during the previous year, and may include other actions such as candlelight vigils, art shows, food drives, film screenings, and marches. The Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, GLAAD, has extensively covered TDOR. GLAAD has interviewed numerous transgender advocates, including actress Candice Kane, profiled an event at the New York City LGBT Community Center, and discussed media coverage of TDOR. So, regarding the this memorial, like in today at a suburb called Newtown, there is going to be it's like a memorial for, I could have gone there, but I didn't go because I was tired and lazy, and it was very hot, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like going. But yeah. So that's what this is. This is to hold to remember the trans people and gender non-conforming people who have lost their lives or murdered, not suicide, but murdered as a result of transphobia. And so I'll put that in the link. And if you go to this other site, this is called the International Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's got I think it's the title, it's the front page. It says Memorializing 2015. There's a printable version of it. So it's got all these names of trans people. A lot of them seem to be trans women. I don't know, it's just, I think they're overwhelming. People who are murdered are trans women, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just give you, this is like a pretty long list actually. It's kind of, this is like worldwide, and they give you the name of the person, cause of death, location of death, date of death, and they also provide a source. Okay, so if I read the first entry, the name is Keisha Blige, 33 years old, Cause of death, shooting. Location of death, Aurora, Illinois, USA. Date of death, March 7th, 2015. And the source is a link to, click the source, it's a link to a Chicago Tribune article. Jesus. What? Well, it doesn't really say that she's transgender. Another thing is, like, some of these people, what? They say Montgomery man because they just more transphobia or more, like, sometimes, you know, these police, they just don't report the gender of the person because they're just like whatever. So the second one is Tamara Dominguez, 36 years old, cause of death, repeatedly run over by vehicle, location of death, Kansas City, Missouri, USA, date of death, August 15th, 2015. Let's click on that link. Okay, trans women. Kansas City police say they still cannot say if the murder of a transgender woman was a hate crime. Tamara Dominguez, 36, was hit by a truck early Saturday morning, then driven over by that truck again and again. That sounds pretty hateful. And, you know, maybe, I don't know. So, don't really, yeah, but that sounds like a very passionate kind of killing. Dominguez was killed in a brutal act of violence about 3 a.m. Police say that the driver initially hit Dominguez, then ran over her body at least 2 more times. Well, yeah, so they're referring to her as she and her, so that was good, because sometimes when you read these articles, they refer to the trans woman as like, I mean, you know, misgender and all that. It's kind of even more like putting insult to injury, and, you know, I mean, you know, making it, not disrespecting her gender and name. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff from USA, and let's go down the list. And there's something from Guyana. Nefti Lutus, 20 years old, cause of death, shooting, location of death, Georgetown, Guyana. Date of death, July 21st, 2015. Let's click on the link to the source. Look at this. This is another article. This is, what is this? Cater News Online. I don't know what the hell it is. Male sex worker shot dead by angry client. God, look at this. The life of a 20-year-old male commercial sex worker was cut short Tuesday night after a scuffle with a client ended with a fatal shot to his chest. Nefi Noel Lutez of the Urban Street, Georgetown, was out doing his line of work when 2 men in a red CRV inquired about his whereabouts at the corner of this and the street. The inquiry eventually led to an argument between Noel and the men that resulted in the sex worker's death after a shot was fired in the vicinity. Speaking to some of Noel's colleagues, Cater News, I don't know, I'm not pronouncing it right, understands that one of the men is a prominent city businessman who was a regular in the area. The second, according to witnesses, was an accomplice of the businessman who some believe was brought to the street to assault Noel. According to reports, The businessman had solicited the services of Noel, a transgender worker, earlier that Tuesday evening. However, Noel's client was not satisfied with the services provided by the transgender. By the transgender. That's also, I hate that it's transgender is an adjective. I hate the way they say by the transgender, like, you know, making it into an it, making a human being into an it, by the transgender, and so revisited the Carmichael Street location, once again soliciting the services of another sex worker. The client had requested that the new worker perform oral sex for $5,000. Oh, Jesus. My God. Further, it was related that he specifically requested the worker not be transgender, as he accused Noel of trying to rob him. However, upon realizing that his second pickup was in fact transgender, the businessman again drafted the person, after which an argument ensued as the two headed out on the road. Ugh. Okay, anyway. So, again, this article, again, calling this trans, probably, I don't know if it is what this person identifies as, so I'm not sure if it's, I'm not sure if this person is a trans woman. But anyway, the fact that it's saying male and he, you know, how do they know what this person identifies that as, you know? This person might identify as a woman, so, I mean, that's a kind of bias and shit. You know, that rudeness. Let's go down anyway. Maybe a little bit down. There's someone from Spain. Oh, let's go to Brazil. Cian Alves de Matos Jr., 21 years old, cause of death, stabbed and dismembered. Oh shit, I think Brazil is really, really bad. They always do this dismembering and Location of death, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Date of death, September 25th, 2015. Oh, okay, it's like in Portuguese, so I can't really read this. But, the title is kind of interesting. Homosexual murder. Yeah, so they're referring to this person as homosexual, but then again, you know, trans people are often confused or conflated with gay people, and that's another kind of ignorance in these. The media is like really. Anyway. So I'm pretty there should be a reason why they put this person, because there's obviously something trans about them. They wouldn't have put this, I don't think, without, you know, this is for trans people and gender non-conforming people, so I can't, anyway, it's all in Portuguese or something. Oh my god, okay. L.A. De Souza, 22 years old, cause of death, found in landfill with knife in neck. Location of death, Campinas, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Date of death, September 30th, 2015. So sometimes, you know, these people might be, you know, caught up in, you know, some of these places are violent, and sometimes they might be murdered because they're trans. But the idea is that there is some suggestion that, you know, this person has been killed because of their trans status. You know, this is some kind of a video, and it's Jesus. There's a video there. I don't want to see it. It's like in some kind of Policia identifica travesti moto em Campinas. What does travesti mean? Is that a trans thing? Travesti. Oh yeah, so in some cultures, especially in South America, a travesti is a person who was designated male at birth independently of actual gametic chromosomes and or anatomic characteristics, but generally not associated with intersex people. Who has a feminine, trans, feminine, femme gender identity, and is connected to a local socio-political identity. So it's like a trans person, you know. So they're saying policia identifica travestis. The police identify a trans person. Mortal probably means death, mortality. And M Campinas, I don't know what Campinas means. Campinas is the place, is the location. Oh, so yeah, so police identified trans person dead in Campinas. I'm sort of doing my own fast translation. Jesus. So death of a trans. This is another one in Brazil. Oh, Brazil is just horrific. The cause of death, another person, not another one, another person. Valesca Rayala, 21 years old. Cause of death, 27 stab wounds. Location of death, Rio Grande do Norte, Brazil. Date of death, September 2nd, 2015. Sort of looks like another language, is a bit like Portuguese or something. Let's go to a different one. There's lots of stuff. Brazil is like really, really bad place for trans people. It's really, really bad. A lot of entries from Brazil. Oh my God, Brazil is not only it's also very violent. Some of these places, like neighborhoods, are very violent. Oh my God, the list goes on and on. Oh God, Brazil, all the way down. Jeez. El Salvador. Francela Mendez, cause of death, stab wounds, location of death, La Palmera, Sonsonate, El Salvador. Oh, look, date of death, May 31st, 2015. Oh, look, this is actually iconic trans activist stabbed to death in Buenos Aires. BA. So CFK had given Diana Sakayan a new DNI card following approval of gender identity law. Trans activist Diana Sakayan, who in 2012 received from President Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner a DNI I don't know what that DNI means, card with her female identity, was found dead with multiple stab wounds yesterday in her apartment in the city neighborhood of Flores. Investigators believe she may have been murdered over the weekend. Sources from the Attorney General's office confirmed to the Herald yesterday that the leader of the International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Trans and Intersex Association, ILGA, was stabbed. An autopsy will be conducted, they also explained, and the results will likely be made public today. Jeez. Some I'm just femicides. They call that femicides. Anyway, they're saying that she might like. Investigators said that the apartment door was broken from the inside, meaning that Sakayan likely knew the perpetrator and allowed the murderer to come inside and lock the door, but he was not able to find the key to open the door. According to the same source, the apartment was in shambles, but speculation that the murder was due to a robbery have been dismissed. In fact, they explained there were signs of violence, meaning she seems to have tried to defend herself from the attacker. Let me see. A recent complaint, the Attorney General's Unit Against Institutional Violence, ProCuban, that's what it's called, I think, has filed a complaint against a group of 12 officers from the Metropolitan Police who on August 26 arrested Sakayan and an employee from the National Institute Against Discrimination, xenophobia and racism, INADI. While they were waiting for a bus on 9 Di Giulio Avenue, Sakayan was waiting for a bus to go to La Plata to take part in the debate over a bill that created jobs for trans people. While queuing, a man started to insult them, and Sakayan requested an apology from the man. A Metropolitan Police female agent handcuffed Sakayan and tried to arrest her. The police agents, this is a quote, the police agents intervened without listening to the explanation given by the victims. They were beaten, humiliated, and insulted, the procurer said, headed by federal prosecutor Miguel Palazzani, said in a writ. Asked by the Herald whether her violent death could be connected to her complaint against the Metropolitan Police, sources explained that Di Lello believed there was no link. However, a source from the procurement made it clear they have not ruled out any hypothesis. So this person was like a real like an activist, you know, like she was really involved in pushing for laws and things like that. So she's like, she's really, she was really trying to make a difference. Diana was also one of the leaders of the Anti-Discriminatory Movement for Freedom, MAL. In 2013, the MAL paid tribute to the Association of Mothers of Plaza de Mayo, led by Hebe Pastor di Bonafini. It is thanks to the mothers that we have been able to build our identities, Sakayan said then. In her blog on May 11, 2014, Sakayan wrote a post that takes on a new light after her death. So this is a quote from a post. When I leave, I don't want people in mourning. I want colors, drinks, and lots of food. That food that lacked when I was a girl, she wrote. When I leave, I wish I made my contribution to the struggle for a world without gender inequality, without class inequality. Herald staff. So that was a wish that she made a contribution to make the world not have gender inequality and class inequality. So it's really, it's like, so there's a picture of her. So that's kind of, sometimes the people who kill her will try and make a difference, and it's like, so this article, Wednesday, October 14, 2015. I'll link this one. It seems like an important article. Alright, so, International Trans Day of Remembrance. It's to memorialize trans people who have been murdered. Like some of the deaths, like that, the one I led was like, that was kind of very tragic because that person was really involved, I mean, everyone's person's death is, it's lost mourning. But yeah, it's, it causes suffering to people around and all that. Anyway, so I thought I'll just make a video to commemorate the Transgender Day of Remembrance. Yeah, trans people, suffer a lot of discrimination, and people don't really understand what it means to be transgender. They think you're gay and you're trying to fool and be deceptive, and a lot of trans women. This list is full of, because men tend to, I hate to say this, but most of the murderers are men, because I guess, like in Brazil, I guess there's that crime thing as well, which kind of, which is an added element, but you should read about the trans panic defense. It's like, it's actually a defense in the States where if, like, it can be a defense to murder or whatever, I think, I'm not sure, if the person, they were so shocked that you were trans that they couldn't help themselves killing you or whatever. I think that used to be like a homophobic kind of thing. Like it used to also be applicable to gay people. Anyway, but because I was just thinking, like, if you're a gay guy and then you were with a man, and yeah, he kills you maybe because you said something like you hit on him or something, and he's like, "What? You're gay?" And but if you're a trans woman, like imagine you were a trans woman and then you were with this guy and you tell him, let's say you were in an intimate situation and you tell him, "Oh, I'm trans," and then he goes, "What the fuck?" and it kills you, and that's actually a defense in a lot of states, trans panic defense. I think you can Google it. I don't know. I don't want to put a link to it. It's trans panic. It's probably lots of. It's called a gay panic defense. California becomes first state to ban gay trans panic defense. So that's good. Defenses. And that should definitely be. In a groundbreaking move, the state takes a stand against defendants being able to use a victim's sexual orientation or gender identity as justification for murder. Maybe I'll put a link to this. It's from this advocate. It's like a LGBT newspaper. Okay, I'll put those links. Alright, Wikipedia, the Trans Day of Remembrance, and the article about Diana Sakayan and trans panic defenses. Yes, my voice is a bit like a gravelly, I don't know why. Gravelly. Anyway, so, yeah, it's my video.